Thank you, Siobhan. Good evening to you. Rangers have become accustomed to European journeys in recent years. Last season culminating in Europa League final defeat, and they had 2 trips to the last 16 of the Europa League in the seasons before that. But this evening marks a whole different beast for them. A return to the Champions League in a group containing Napoli, Liverpool, and of course tonight's opponents, Ajax. Despite a heavy 4-0 Old Firm defeat on the weekend, Rangers under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst have often saved their best for when they're written off. The second leg to qualify for the group stage against PSV Eindhoven, their drubbing of Borussia Dortmund last season, to just name a few. The two teams emerging from the tunnel at the Johan Cruyff Arena. Rangers have never beaten the reigning Dutch champions. Will tonight be the night? Well, this Ajax side looks markedly different. A mass exodus to Manchester United sees a new manager in Alfred Schreuder, as well as some new faces on the pitch as well. One of them being the former Rangers man Calvin Bassey, who replaced Lissandro Martinez. It's the first meeting for these sides since 1996. 2 historic football clubs of European football. The Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam, the venue. It's all live here on TalkSport 2. You don't want to be anywhere else over the next few hours. Well, the two sides are lined up in front of a packed-out crowd in Amsterdam. The iconic, the famous Champions League anthem in the background. Kickoff is right around the corner in just a few minutes' time. A reminder of the team news, just the one change for Rangers. Stephen Davis is replaced by Scott Wright, so McLaughlin remains in goal. The back 4 is Tavernier, Goldson, Sands and Barisic. Kamara will drop to a deeper midfield role and partners Lundstrom in midfield, and that means that Tillman will play as the 10, Wright and Kent either side of him. Cholak leads the line. As for Ajax, 2 changes, with Kenneth Taylor and Mohamed Kudus coming in, replacing Brian Brobby and Davy Klaassen. Pasveer in goal, Wrench, Timber, the former Rangers man Bassey, and Blind the back 4. Taylor comes into midfield alongside Alvarez and Berghaus, with Kudus playing as a false 9, Tadic and Bergwijn either side of him. Matt Holland, the former Republic of Ireland midfielder, alongside me. Just a few moments until kick-off, Matt. This moment for those Rangers player, how do you think they're feeling?
Excited, nervous, of course. I was listening to James Tavernier talking about this is his first foray into Champions League group stage football. He's age 30 and he's been there a long time, the skipper, and yet here he is, first time he's playing Champions League football. So it's a brilliant occasion, it's a brilliant moment for them, an opportunity to take on a world famous side in Ajax, wonderful atmosphere, and one that they should enjoy and relish.
You mentioned that Tavernier making his Champions League debut. There's only 2 players in the starting 11 for Rangers who have Champions League experience. That's Cholak and Tillman. So a lot of players making their Champions League debut. Does that matter? Does European experience matter in this kind of situation?
They've got European experience.
And the Europa League,
not the Champions League, but the Europa League last season, and they did very well last year. Incredibly successful, got to the final, were unlucky against Eintracht Frankfurt, but they beat Dortmund, they beat RB Leipzig along the way as well, so they had some famous wins in that run to the Europa League finals, so they have got experience in Europe.
And we mentioned the Scottish Premiership and the Old Firm in the build-up, the defeat to Celtic at the weekend. Rangers are already 5 points behind their rivals in the league table. Not done by any stretch, but does that mean Europe becomes more important? Does it give them a bit of a free hit? Does that change at all how they feel, how they approach the Champions League group stage?
I think this group in particular is a free hit, because I don't think anybody's expecting Rangers to come through it. So I think Gio Van Bronckhorst can look at this as one 6 games that they can really enjoy, because I don't think the expectations are. How they respond to that Celtic defeat is going to be interesting. Physically and mentally, that was damaging at the weekend.
Well, we're ready to get the game underway. Rangers will be kicking off in their familiar blue strip, and just seen Giovanni Van Bronckhorst saying hello to his counterpart Alfred Schreuder in the technical area for Ajax, and the game is underway. Rangers back in the group stage of the Champions League, facing Ajax in Amsterdam. It's their first foray into this stage of the competition in 12 years. They have lost twice in qualifying in that time, both occasions to Malmo, but this season very, very different as they beat PSV Eindhoven in qualifying. And it's Ajax with the corner in the left-back position, and immediately throw it up the touchline, only for there to be a real battle in midfield, and that's going to be cleared back to his goalkeeper by Goldson. McLaughlin surprised to see McLaughlin keep the goalkeeper's gloves for this game. Matt Holland was many people expecting McGregor to come back in.
Maybe not. I think Gio Van Bronckhorst, the way he was talking prior to the game starting and in the build-up to it, he said he has confidence in his players, and I think he wanted to try and back the goalkeeper. What isn't a surprise is that the first time the ball came back to him, he went long. He didn't try and play out short, which is what he did for the fourth Celtic goal.
And it's now at the back with Ajax quite happy just to take their time and go back to their goalkeeper, Pasveer. Ajax won all their games in their Eredivisie so far this season. We mentioned in our build-up plenty of changes at the club this summer. Erik ten Hag at Manchester United take a number of players with him, but they've started their league campaign well, and they're in down the left-hand side early on here, edging towards the edge of that area's Taylor, the replacement, and then looks to pick out a pass close down by the byline. It runs behind for a Rangers goal kick. 0-0, 90 seconds gone. Clever from Steven Bergwijn, the left winger who's arrived from Spurs. He's had a good start to life at Ajax. Scored a hat-trick already against Groningen. But his movement there, the way he just dragged Tavernier infield and left that space down the left for Taylor to run into. Really clever play. Yeah, 6 goals already for Steven Bergwijn. One of those transfers that Spurs fans are probably looking at it and wondering why he couldn't have that sort of tally for them so early in the season. But he's settled in at Ajax. Yeah, he has. It's difficult, isn't it, for Tottenham to keep everybody happy. The quality of players that they've got at the top end of the pitch, and then signing Richarlison as well. And Lucas Moura not featuring at the moment. He's frustrated, I guess, and a few clubs actually talked about interested in him on the deadline day, but Bergwijn would not have featured much, so it's a great opportunity for him to come and play regular first-team football. I always thought we saw moments from Steven Bergwijn at Tottenham. He didn't throw it together regularly, and that's why they were happy to see him leave the club, but we saw moments. I wonder how he'll get on with Ajax as Rangers get the ball in the final third for the first time in the contest, battle for it on the edge of the penalty area, and they're just happy to reset on the left-hand side with Barisic. Early whistles from the home fans. They've retreated into the centre circle for Goldson. Tavernier on the right-hand side. Touch takes him infield. Looks to flick it towards the front line of Cholak, and it comes off the Rangers centre forward and out of play for a throw-in in the left-back position for Ajax. 3 minutes gone. Ajax 0, Rangers 0 on TalkSport 2. When we've talked already about Rangers' selection, he's kept John McLaughlin in. He's only made the one change. Ajax have made 2 changes, and I think a little bit surprising that Kudus starts is a false 9, if you like. He did come off the bench and score at the weekend, but I thought Robbie might have started in that position, but he's decided to go with Kudus up top. There's Rangers back in possession at the moment in the early stages here on TalkSport 2. Sands, the American centre-back, going back to McLaughlin, his goalkeeper. Plenty of time for the Rangers keeper. Lifts the ball up towards the halfway line. Cholak comes deep to get his head on it. Back into the Rangers half. Lundstrom can't collect it. Now it is Kudus in possession. Plays it off to Alvarez. And then Berghuis, twisting and turning, will go back to the defence for the home side. 4 minutes gone. Goalless so far. The first game in Group A of the Champions League. Napoli and Liverpool to come later. That match will also be available here on TalkSport 2. Ian Danter and David Connolly, your commentary team. 8 o'clock kick-off there. Ajax just getting their foot on the ball for the first time in the contest, really, here, Matt Holland. Yeah, they are, and they've managed to get overloads in the wide areas. Well, here's the delivery into towards the box, and Tavernier is there on the edge of the 6-yard area to half clear. It's going to come back to Bergwijn, back to goal inside the area, but he was offside, and that'll be a free kick to Rangers inside that penalty area. Yeah, but just saying the way the Rangers have set up, quite narrow, quite deep. They're saying to Ajax, yes, you can go round us, but you're not coming through us, and they're offering the width. But Ajax have created overloads in that position and caused Rangers 1 or 2 issues in the wide areas already in the opening 5 minutes. I think it's a sensible approach from Van Bronckhorst. Some of Rangers' best performances in the Europa League last year was where they were on the front foot, very aggressive, playing a higher line. More sensible here to adopt a slightly different tactic? Possibly. I think maybe the atmosphere as well, the noise, just try and dampen the crowd, just quieten the crowd. It's going to be a difficult job, that, because you can hear the atmosphere. It's rocking. You can already hear the whistles amongst the home support, and there's a free kick on the halfway line now for Rangers. Kudus just clattering a man as he looked to win the ball just inside the Rangers half. Goldson it is, who is just wiping his face, can get back to his feet, the centre-back for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's side. Took a bit of a clatter there. Kudu's coming through. Just a high arm, really, wasn't it, Matt Holland? Nothing too much, just a free kick.
No, I think it's a foul, but nothing sinister in it.
Goldson takes that free kick, goes to the diagonal, right to left, looking for Barisic, who brings it down but then loses out to Wrench. And Ajax back in possession, deep inside their own half, back in their own box, and they will play it out from the back. Up the touchline they go, over the halfway. Numbers forward here for Ajax, they can work it, looking for the long ball for Bergwijn through the middle. It's overhit and McLaughlin can collect that. There's a slight apology coming from Dusan Tadic, the Ajax captain.
Yeah, I saw Rafael van der Vaart saying he criticised Dusan Tadic, saying he's hopelessly out of form. And he's someone that's had a terrific career.
He's yet to score this season, playing on the right of the front three for Ajax. Just overhit his long ball there. Approaching 7 minutes played, Ajax 0, Rangers 0, Group A of the Champions League here on TalkSport 2. It's the former Republic of Ireland midfielder Matt Holland alongside myself, Alfie Reynolds. Ajax build from the back once more. Through Bassi, former Rangers man. Now wearing the iconic white and red colours of the current Dutch champions.
They do rotate their positions really well, Ajax. For a moment there, Alvarez had dropped into the back four, if you like, and Bassi had gone into midfield. Bassi again making a run forward, and Alvarez just fills in at centre-half, and there's a real rotation about the positions.
And despite all the changes we've seen this summer as well, including in the technical area with Erik ten Hag departing, it doesn't seem to affect Ajax in that way.
And how late they made some of their signings as well. It's difficult, isn't it? You don't get long on the training ground, but they've made a great start to life in the league. They've won the first 5 matches.
And a comfortable start in this game as well. Just have the ball inside the Rangers half, playing at a forward ball, which is intercepted. Can the visitors come away with it? Well, Goldson receives it back in defence. They will go back towards McLaughlin. No options further forward. The keeper tries to pick out a pass for Barisic. And now here's Kent on the left-hand side, and the ball is knocked out of play. It'll be a Rangers throw-in on the left, just inside Rangers territory. And we've had 8 minutes played. It remains goalless.
Typical team, Ajax, as well. And typically, you look at them, very young side with a smattering of experience, the likes of Daley Blind's in the side and Dusan Tadic, but generally they're a very young side.
Throwing down the touchline, that's going to go out of play and straight away be another throw into the home side. Fans enjoying that one. Rangers not able to capitalise on it, as Wrench will take that throw in and head back into his own half for his defenders. Fairly slow start to the game. Ajax having more of the ball. Here's Bergwijn on the left-hand touchline. Not too many options ahead of him, so happy to reset the play. And here is Blind, former Manchester United man, back to Bergwijn. On the left-hand side once more. Plays the pass in behind, and the cutback from Taylor goes out of play via a Rangers player, so it's going to be a corner kick to Ajax. And we welcome listeners from TalkSport to Ajax 0, Rangers 0, Group A of the Champions League. 9.5 minutes gone, remains goalless, and Ajax have their first corner of the contest. Steven Bergwijn, the former Tottenham man, and their captain Dusan Tadic standing over it. Rolls it to Tadic, who delivers dangerously in towards the 6-yard area, and that's the first chance of the game. Effort goes over the crossbar, but it's a warning sign for Rangers. Timber, the centre-back, up from the back. Free header, edge of the 6-yard box, gets it horribly wrong. It goes over the bar, remains 0-0.
Yeah, great delivery, wasn't it, from Tadic, and Timber. His movement wasn't brilliant. He just ventured into an area, that 6-yard box, across the near post, and just got too much on his header. Really disappointed in himself, because that's a glorious chance for them early on.
10 minutes gone in this game. Rangers' first group stage match in the Champions League for 12 years, up against Ajax in Amsterdam. Current score, Ajax 0, Rangers 0. Decent opportunity though for the home side there, Matt Holland.
Really good chance. It was a clever set piece, clever corner. Bergwijn laying it out off for Tadic to deliver the outswinger, the left foot. Timber, say his movement wasn't brilliant, he just drifted into an area unopposed, and that's something the Rangers got to be really careful of. Got to be tight, got to be careful not to cross over as well in defensive situations. I noticed Tavernier and Scott Wright down the right hand side a couple of times have just crossed over. Tavernier's found himself very central, going with the run of Bergwijn. I think they're better served by just keeping their positions.
Well, it's been a solid start for Rangers. 11 minutes into this game here on TalkSport 2. Just that opportunity for Ajax a few moments ago as Wrench makes an advanced run into Rangers territory. Now on the right hand side, crossing position for Ajax. A little 1-2, lovely ball across the box, 6-yard area. Goldson is on hand just to thump it clear. But Ajax building here, looking dangerous. It's going to come back at Rangers through Blind, and now Bergwijn on this left-hand side, cuts onto his right foot, a bit of space, and he drags his shot to the left-hand side, wide of the goal, remains 0-0.
Well, the danger in the opening 12 minutes has come from the wide areas. It's come from Bergwijn, it's come from Tadic. In this last move, Tadic did brilliantly, played a little 1-2, down the right-hand side, delivered a cross, right along the 6-yard box, nobody attacked it. Then Bergwijn picks it up, comes inside and gets his shot away. Doesn't quite get the contact he wants, drags it wide, but the danger so far is those two.
And you do just feel that Ajax are building here.
They've kept the ball well, their possession has been excellent, they're moving it quickly, and as I said earlier, the wide areas where Rangers are allowing them space because they don't want to come through the middle is a problem for them at the moment. They're getting the fullbacks forward, and Tadic and Bergwijn are a real issue.
Here's Čolak picking it up for Rangers, plays it to Tillman, but he loses possession. Wrench gets it back for Ajax, and they'll build once more. That Rangers just struggling to keep hold of the ball at the moment, Matt Holland.
Yeah, it keeps coming back. It's good pressure, good tempo from Ajax without the ball.
Here's Wright picking up for Rangers. Once again, though, just a heavy touch, loses out, and it's back in possession for the home side. Blind playing in this left-back position. You'll be able to hear the increased noise levels from the home fans. Pleased with what they're seeing so far in the early stages of this one. It remains goalless, but it is Ajax that are looking the more dangerous. 13 minutes gone. And it's Timber at the back for the home side, on halfway. It plays the ball into the Rangers half. Timber, the man just a few moments ago that had that header, went way over the crossbar, but it was a free header inside the area. Now the wide pass to the right-hand side, completely miscontrolled, but Ajax remain in possession. Down the right they go, couple of step-overs, crossing towards the Rangers penalty area, and it's deflected off Barisic, out of play, Ajax corner.
He's so difficult to defend against Tadic because you're not quite sure which way he's going to go. He's capable, I mean, generally he wants to come in with his left foot and deliver balls into the box, but he's got the ability to go on the outside as well, as we've seen the last couple of occasions.
And it results in the second corner of the contest for the home team. Left-footed, low delivery. It's a I was going to say a well-worked move, but they played it straight to right, and Rangers are going to come away with it through Kent, who just checks himself, had no options ahead of him, then tries to play the ball off an Ajax player for a throw-in, and it ends up coming off Kent instead, and it's Tadic once more on that right-hand side for Ajax. Crossing position, up against Barisic, couple of step-overs, cuts back onto his right foot, now on in towards the area, lays it off, and there's a half shot which is blocked, and Rangers, again, just about clear it away. Here comes Tillman, bit of space now. Up over the halfway line, it's a 3-on-2. Good work from Tillman under challenges from the Ajax defenders. No options ahead of him, so still having to go himself. Lays it off, the shot from Čolak is blocked. Rangers keep it in possession on that left-hand side though. One touch through Barisic, tries to lay it off, and it's just not clicking at the moment for Rangers. Losing possession once more, 15 gone. Ajax 0, Rangers 0.
Bit of encouragement though from that run from Tillman, taking them up the pitch really well under a lot of pressure. 3 or 4 men around him, but managed to hold on to the ball for Rangers. That's what they need. They need a bit of a breather. They need somebody who's going to take responsibility.
Taylor for Ajax facing his own goal. Now Bassi at the back. The former Rangers man was so key, Matt Holland, Bassi, in Rangers' run to that Europa League final.
He was excellent, wasn't he? And he looks a sound investment for Ajax already. You know, the price and the way he started.
extraordinary rise as well. He burst into the Rangers team, was there when Steven Gerrard was there, but didn't get a huge amount of game time, but was so influential, so important for Rangers last season, and then got that summer move to Ajax. Amazing story, really. It is the home side here in possession. Alvarez lays it off to Timber. Now it's Wrench on that right-hand side, has his captain Tadic outside him, who will square it once more to Timber. Is Daley Blind. Plenty of Rangers shirts just behind the ball. Still 0-0 with 16 gone, but Ajax with the momentum and the control of the game as things stand at the moment. Tadic once more on that right-hand side, crossing position, lays it off to Alvarez, who made the advance run, and then it's going to go out of play off Barisic, and that's going to be another corner for Ajax.
Well, if you're Ajax right now, feed your wide men, feed Tadic and feed Bergwijn, because they've started the game really brightly.
16 and a half gone. Ajax with all the momentum at the moment. Another corner here. Delivery in swinging, left-footed, and it's 1-0. First goal of the contest for Alvarez, heading in from that corner. A wicked whip delivery, and it goes with the run of play. Ajax comfortably the home side. Rangers are going to have to come from behind. With 17 minutes gone, it's Ajax 1, Rangers 0.
And it's a totally deserved lead as well from Ajax. Rangers had a warning 3 or 4 minutes ago. Jurrien Timber got a free header 6 yards out. They didn't defend it particularly well. Well, that's exactly the same. It's delivered right across that 6-yard line. Alvarez is the quickest to react. Nobody in a blue shirt jumps. He does, and powers a header into the bottom corner with nobody on the post. Then it was a simple header into the bottom corner. Ajax have started this game really brightly and deserve to be in front.
I presume their Rangers are playing their defensive structure is zonal, and it just looks like nobody picked him up.
If you're defending zonal and the ball's in your area, you attack it. Don't worry about, jump it. You have to jump and attack the ball, and they just didn't do it. They've had a couple of chances now, Ajax, from corners, and the second one they weren't going to give up. Really good header from Alvarez.
And the ball flew over a couple of Rangers players as well on the edge of that 6-yard box. Alvarez's first goal of the season for Ajax, and it gives them the lead in this game in Group A of the Champions League here on TalkSport 2. Ajax 1, Rangers 0. And Rangers have to come from behind their first Champions League group stage game in 12 years, and it hasn't got off to the start that they would have wanted. You would have thought, Matt Holland, Rangers knew that they'd be up against it for periods of the game, but would have really wanted to keep things tight for a little bit longer.
Well, just deal with the set piece. That's the frustration, I think, from Gio van Bronckhorst. Some of the goals they gave away against Celtic were really poor, but then you go back to basics, and every time the ball comes into your, go and attack it, get tight to someone. All those little jobs, the little details that you have to get right, and within 20 minutes they've not done it twice. They could be 2 behind. They're lucky it's only 1.
Yeah, as you say, it happened from the corner just a few moments before as well. The Ajax now back in possession, having gone a goal ahead. Blind's ball forward, cut out, and runs through to Sands to knock it back to McLaughlin. Poor ball forward, only as far as Alvarez inside the centre circle, and he immediately hooks it back to his goalkeeper Pasveer, who has had a very quiet opening 20 minutes in the Ajax goal.
Yeah, Rangers can't get going. They can't get the ball to Cholak at the top end of the pitch. He's isolated. And he's had a good start to life at Rangers, and yet they can't get him on the ball at all.
Just not able to get their foot on the ball at all in the early stages of this game, Rangers. It's Ajax in possession once more. Down that right-hand side where they've had a number of good opportunities. Tadic once more skips away from one challenge. Rangers trying to win the ball back down close to the corner flag from Tadic, not able to. They'll do eventually come away with it, and then a free kick is awarded for the challenge on Kent, and that will give Rangers just a brief moment to try and draw breath and work out how they're going to get some sort of hold on this game.
That was the goal scorer, the destroyer in midfield, Alvarez. He's
got one on Kent there, didn't he?
He's not averse to a red card. He's had a few in his career. He knew exactly what he was doing, the defensive midfielder, not allowing Rangers to counter on them.
A long ball forward from McLaughlin, not able to pick out a blue shirt once again. Blind will play it forward into Kudus. There's Berghaus, and now Alvarez inside the centre circle. Back to Berghaus, into Kudus, pocket of space in front of the Rangers defence. Lovely turn as well from the false nine, up to the edge of the penalty area, into Tadic on that left-hand side, cuts onto his left foot, plays the ball forward, good save from McLaughlin. Another corner for Ajax, but they're building once more here, the home side. 21 minutes gone, Ajax 1, Rangers 0.
One-way traffic. It really is total domination from the home side. You've had all the ball, creating the better chances. Tadic at the heart of it again. Confidence boosting save from the goalkeeper.
Another corner, long swinging one to the back post. Tillman gets his head on it, comes back to him, and then all he can really do is just hook it away out of play. It'll be a throw-in on the left for Ajax. What's it like in this sort of situation, Matt Holland? A game that Rangers would have been so looking forward to. It means so much to the club and the fans, and the opening 20 minutes just don't go the way that they're hoping. They can't get hold on it, and they find themselves a goal down.
Well, it's important that they stick together. It's important that they communicate, talk to each other, keep each other in their right positions. At the moment, they're being pulled all over the place. You know, we talked about the corners and how they're zonal marking. I actually think they just need to stay in their shape as well, because they are getting dragged into positions that they don't want to be when they're defending. Instead, Tavernier's just following Bergwijn all over the place, but it's not the right way to go about it, because there's so much space in the wide areas when he does make that run into midfield with him. So they just have to keep their shape, keep their discipline, keep their organisation, make sure they're talking to each other.
And we're just seeing a replay on our studio monitors of the shot a few moments ago. That came from Wrench, who's the right back for Ajax. Because of how comfortable they are at the moment, their full-backs, if they want, are able to bomb on, and Wrench having that shot inside the 6-yard box.
But that's the overloads I'm talking about in the wide positions, and that's where they're creating it. I mean, runners from, I think Kenneth Taylor's made some really good runs down the left-hand side to join Bergwijn and also Daley Blind. So that's 3 against 1 and 3 against 2 at times. Here comes Blind again.
Yeah, cross into the box. He's going to find Bergwijn. One touch, lays it off, tries to play a 1-2. It runs through towards McLaughlin. Just wonder whether Steven Bergwijn would have been better pulling the trigger there. Had a little opening, decided to lay it off to Tadic, and the 1-2 didn't find Bergwijn.
Just slightly guilty of overplaying. Brilliant play again, out wide, down the left this time. Bergwijn could have had a shot. So too could Tadic. Because when Bergwijn played in the ball and continued his run, it opened up for Tadic. There's nobody close to him.
Well, here comes Wright for Rangers. Once again, just lose it out, Matt Holland. To my left-hand side, just shaking your head. Yeah,
poor touch. Scruffy. Got to get a hold of it. Got to do better than that. When you do win the ball back, you need a breather. You've got to keep the ball. Get 2 or 3 passes in.
Tavernier with the diagonal ball over towards Kent on the left-hand side, who stops it from going out of play. As Barisic outside in bit of space, crossing position down by the byline, chip ball in towards the box, runs all the way through to Kamara. He's going to lay it off to Tavernier, chip ball back in towards the back post. That's going to run past everyone. Barisic will eventually keep it in, but he was in an offside position. Well, that's probably the best period of play Rangers have had in the game. It remains 1-0, but that's a little bit more like it.
Much more like it. And when they went forward, actually, what they did do is fill the box. It wasn't like Cholak was up there on his own. There was runs from midfield. They got 3 or 4 men into the box to try and attack it, so that was much better from Rangers.
Well, a small sign of encouragement for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's side, the Rangers manager. No stranger to facing Ajax, manager at their big rivals Feyenoord, of course. Doesn't have the best of records, though, in this stadium. In his 10 times he took Feyenoord against Ajax, he lost 9 of those, or won just 2 of them, I beg your pardon, losing all 4 of his visits to the Johan Cruyff Arena. And he finds his Rangers side 1-0 down here with 24.5 minutes played on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, Ajax are pretty good here. I was having a look, and since the start of the last season they've scored 100 goals at home and conceded just 12.
It's not bad, is it?
Make it 101.
The Rangers are learning the hard way at the moment, finding themselves a goal down early on, as once more down the left-hand side, Kudus with a little bit of space, Bergwijn is inside of him, Tadic with the forward run, lays it back to Kudus, chip ball towards the back post, played back across the box, and Lundstrom is there to clear it away. Kent had it for just a moment, but loses out once more, and it's the home fans finding their voice again. 25 minutes gone, Ajax 1, Rangers 0. and you already feel that Rangers just need to try and hold on until half-time. They've still got 20 minutes to go until that.
Yeah, that's a tough ask, isn't it? Because the home side are playing some really nice football. 1 and 2 touch, good movement, passing the ball crisply.
Alvarez, the goal scorer, plays it into Wrench. Here's Berghaus on the right-hand side, lays it back to Wrench inside the area, close to the byline, tries to play it back across. It's going to come out, but only as far as the captain Tadic, twisting and turning. Chip ball back in towards the back post. Tavernier heads it clear up towards Cholak, but he gets his head on it. Bassi then wins it back in an advanced position for Ajax. Here they come once more through Tadic on the right. Bassi now in a crossing position, but will lay it back to Alvarez and Timber. Ajax just happy to take the sting out of it for the time being.
So much to like about the way Ajax are playing, but there's so much for Rangers to improve on. Got to go with runners. They've got to keep the ball better. They've got to get a hold of it.
Here is Daley Blind. Bergwijn has come centrally for it. Back to goal, lays it back to Blind. Now Timber, Bassi inside the centre circle. Taylor. Just all feels very, very comfortable for Ajax, as it has done throughout the opening 27 minutes. Blind, Kudus now finding himself on the left-hand side. Bergwijn more central, plays the diagonal out towards the right-hand side for Tadic. Acres of space for the Ajax captain. Takes it towards the edge of the box, and it's played to Taylor, laid back off. Lovely move, and it's the shot that goes just wide of the target. Wrench it was once more from right back up inside the Rangers penalty area. A glorious chance to make it 2-0.
Well, he's playing like a winger. He's playing like an inverted right winger. Wrench, the fullback, the positions he's getting himself into. He stays on side as well. I have to give credit to John McLaughlin, quickly off his line to put him off. But even so, even under that bit of pressure, he should still be hitting the target when he's only 5 or 6 yards out. But some of Ajax's players have been really, really good to watch.
Impressed with Wrench so far as well. We've mentioned him a couple of times. As you say, he's playing like a winger, getting in advanced positions. Only 19 years old, made his international debut for the Netherlands exactly a year ago as well. He's another name in an Ajax jersey to keep an eye on for the future.
Absolutely. That back line, you look at it, Jurrien Timber's linked to Man United. Didn't make that move, but he's only 21. You've got Calvin Bassi, who they've signed. He's only 22. They're always building, they're always looking to the future. They've lost players this summer, but they've lost players in the past, Ajax, and replaced them. They've replenished, they're doing it again.
It's part of the model of the club, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's only 32-year-old Daley Blind that's bringing up the average in that back line.
But you need some experience. You need people who've been there, seen it, done it. He's played in the Champions League plenty of times, Daley Blind.
As Rangers give the ball away at the back, big opportunity this for Ajax. It's a last-ditch challenge comes in. Lundstrom's going to come away with it for Rangers. Well, they needed that. They looked under pressure, but once again, as they look to play it out from the back, they've just given the ball straight back to Ajax.
Well, the thing with Rangers is that they're getting dragged all over the place. So it's 100 miles an hour trying to chase the ball. When they get the ball, they're still playing at 100 miles an hour. They need to slow themselves down, try and get a few passes in. They're still trying to do things really quickly. They need a breather.
Do you think it was part of the game plan for when they get the ball to try and play it forward quickly? Because that's what they seem to be trying to do, and pretty much every time they're losing it.
Possibly, but they're so deep. It's not like they've got the options to try and get in behind that Ajax defence. They've got to get a few passes in before they can play that ball over the top.
Ajax in possession. Ball to the right-hand side for Tadic, who's just been hugging that touchline for so much of the opening half an hour, causing Rangers all sorts of problems. And the pace of the game, when Ajax want to, can just really tail off. Here's the diagonal ball to the left-hand side as they inject a bit of pace into it. Bergwijn collects it up against Tavernier. Twisting, turning, lays it off to Taylor. One of the two changes for Ajax. Blind, Alvarez, lovely ball back towards Blind, but it is cut out, and Tillman tries to come away with it. Kamara then backhand for it. Bergwijn gets it back on the edge of the area. Blind squares it. Another opportunity for Berghaus for Ajax, and the shot is deflected. It's going to go out of play for a throw-in, still in an advanced position on that right-hand side.
I think you made a really good point about the tempo of the game, how Ajax are totally dictating it. When they want, they can slow it down and get a few passes in, and when they want, they can really add some pace into it. Bergwijn in particular, when he picks the ball up, you're just thinking something's going to happen every time. The way he moves it and tries to play those little 1-2s around the 18-yard box.
It's funny with Bergwijn, isn't it? Or you look at him and it's how a player sometimes can just suit a certain side and a certain style so well. We mentioned him earlier in the commentary, and he had moments at Spurs but never really clicked. But you look at him in his Ajax side and it just seems to work. As Ajax come forward with it once more on the right-hand side, cross towards the back post is going to go over everyone out of play, goal kick.
Yeah, what I would say about Bergwijn is he's the main man. And I think he's enjoying that, the responsibility. I think when he was at Spurs, he was overshadowed. The likes of Son, the likes of Kane, whoever it might have been. You know, he never felt like he was the main man. He was always in and out the side. He's getting a run, and he's the main man in the team. And they're looking to him for inspiration. They're looking for him to create and score, and he's done that. He's got 7 goals already this season.
Well, Kudus picking it up back to goal for Ajax. Lays it off, bit of space into the area, right-hand side. Left-footed shot is deflected, and it's in. It's 2-0. It's an own goal. Berghuis is the one that got the shot. But it's Ajax 2, Rangers 0 with half an hour gone. Sands getting the final touch. We'll have to see if it goes down as an own goal. Berghuis's effort may have been on target, but it is calamitous for Rangers. They're getting blown away in Amsterdam. It's Ajax 2, Rangers 0.
Well, they're conceding 4 against Celtic at the weekend. 3 of those in the first half. They've already conceded 2 in this. It could have been more. Ajax have been exceptional. The way they've played, the way they've moved the ball, the tempo that they've played at, the runners that they've got forward. Yes, they get a bit of luck. There's nothing that John McLaughlin can do. He's dived down to his right-hand side, but the deflection from Sands just totally wrong foots him and ends up in the back of the net. There's nothing he can do about that, but you have to say, Ajax absolutely deserved this lead. They've been sensational.
Well, we said a short while ago, almost jokingly, that you felt like Rangers were having to hold on for 20 minutes to get to half-time. But from what we've seen so far in a little over half an hour of this game, Matt Holland, it's a case of how much rather than Rangers being able to get anything out of it. They've barely even thrown a punch.
Struggling to find a way back into this. I'm struggling to find. If I was Van Bronckhorst now, I'm looking at what can we do? How can we get back into this? It's going to be really difficult for them.
Yeah, 32 minutes gone, almost 33. Ajax 2, Rangers 0. And try and dig out the possession stats in just a moment, because it has been so dominant for the home side. Kudus, who's just picked it up again, is rolling past Tavernier up into the area. Left-footed shot. Oh, what a goal! Kudus, the goal scorer, and it's sensational. 33 minutes played. Ajax 3, Rangers 0, and it looks like game over already. A brilliant goal from Mohamed Kudus. Ajax 3, Rangers 0.
They're a yard quicker all over the pitch. This is men against boys. Ajax have been brilliant. The way they've moved the ball. Rangers are struggling. They're struggling to get close. Their shape has been poor. They've been dragged all over the place. Tavernier gets dragged out of position again. Goes to go tight. Can't get there. And it's brilliant from Kudus. The strength, the turn, the way he gets away from Tavernier, and then he's got it all to do. He's on the angle with his left foot. He's still got plenty to do. It's a very small gap between McLaughlin's big left hand and the post, but he finds it. It ricochets off the post into the back of the net, and Ajax are 3 goals for the good.
It's like a missile just seeking out that post, rattling against it and into the goal. And Mohamed Kudus, who's been playing as a false 9, he was linked with a move away from Everton in the transfer window. He didn't train at one point. This is his first start of the season, scoring his 2nd goal. It's an absolute beauty, and this is welcome to the Champions League group stage for Rangers.
We just talked, weren't we, about the first half against Celtic, and now they were 3 down at half-time. I'll tell you what, they'd take that now. There's 10 minutes to go. This could be plenty more by then.
Yeah, they are up against it, against the ropes. What can Rangers find? A word for Kudus, though, Matt Holland. Impressive so far in the opening 35 minutes.
The front three have caused Rangers all sorts of problems. We talked heavily already about Bergwijn and Tadic. Not mentioned Kudus too much, but He's been clever. The way he's just dropped into midfield.
He's had that licence to roam, hasn't he?
Absolutely. He's dragging the centre-halves out. So Goldson's followed him in at times, and when he's done that, that's where the space has opened up for the runners, for the likes of Wrench, the full-back, who's got himself into advanced positions. Because the gap's opened up where Kudus has vacated an area and dragged a centre-half out of position.
Rangers still looking to play out from the back under all sorts of pressure. Could be four here. Here's Bergwijn laying it off to the left-hand side. Tadic isn't going to quite get there. Tavernier down by the byline comes away with it, but is forced just to chip the ball up the touchline, and Bassi has it back in possession for Ajax. Well, we were critical earlier in the half, Matt Horan, for Rangers when they got the ball, just playing it long and giving it away. But when they try and play it out from the back as well, they're not able to keep it. They just don't have the answers at the moment.
No, they're lacking in confidence, clearly, from that Celtic defeat. It's just rolled over into this one as well. I said, how are they going to react? Are they going to have the courage, the confidence to get on the ball where things aren't going particularly well? Well, they're struggling. They really are struggling. It's taken its toll, that Celtic defeat.
You wonder how early Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will look to change things. It's one of those games in the opening 36 minutes we've seen with Rangers trailing 3-0 here on TalkSport 2. It's almost one of those games you wonder if you'll see a first half substitute.
Well, I was going to say, we've seen managers, the top managers do it.
Yeah.
They see a problem, they rectify it. I mean, whether it's a case of going to a back five, maybe put Lundstrom in at centre-back, he's done that before. He's done that in Europe before, so there's no reason why he can't do that. But the top managers recognise the problem and they actually do something about it, and he hasn't done so far. He should have done. I think he should have changed the shape. I think he probably should have gone to a back three.
Yeah, it was one of the possibilities ahead of the game whether they would go for a back three with Lundstrom. It did opt for the usual 4-2-3-1, and they have been comprehensively outplayed so far in this match. Here's Kent getting his foot on the ball in an advanced position for the first time. Alvarez steaming in with the slide challenge, knocks it out of play. Rangers throwing on the left-hand side in an advanced position.
He doesn't take any prisoners, does he? Alvarez, yeah. He flies into his challenges.
He already put one on Kent earlier in the half. His team 3-0 up. He's not holding back at all. Flying in there. So Rangers throwing on the left-hand side. They go back to Lundstrom. Here's Kamara. Back to goal. He's forced to lay it off to Goldson inside the centre circle. He's just looking for the options ahead of him. Very little at the moment. Going to play it in behind Bassi, looking for the run of right, but Bassi is there and just about shepherds the ball out of play. Look for a moment like Wright might pinch it back off him, but it does go out of play. It remains Ajax 3, Rangers 0.
I think that's the prime example really of the difference between the two teams. When Ajax have the ball, there's 3 and 4 options. There's people running off the ball, there's people wanting the ball. Connor Goldson picked that ball up at centre-half and he's running with it, and he's running with it, and he's running with it, and he's looking for help. There's nobody near him, there's nobody close to him, everyone's running away from him, nobody wants the ball. That's the big difference between the two sides.
And he's forced into the little bit of a hit and hope down into the channel, which they're not able to get on the end of. Ajax 3, Rangers 0 here on TalkSport 2, the first of 2 Champions League games we have for you tonight. Following us, it's Napoli against Liverpool, the other match in Group A. Ian Danta and David Connolly will be your commentary team for that one. That gets underway at 8 o'clock, and we have 6 minutes to go until half-time here. Ajax leading 3-0. An impressive Ajax. They won all of their matches in the group stage of the Champions League last season, and they've got off to the perfect start so far in this one, as they have the ball once more on that right-hand side where they've just caused Rangers a whole load of issues. Tadic, ball played in towards Wrench, battling for it towards the byline, chip ball. Kamara heads clear, only as far as Taylor.
Half-time can't come quick enough for Rangers. Just watching John Lundstrom there, I mean, he was very deep. He was actually marking Kudus. I talked about him being a false 9 and dropping into midfield. I think he has to be braver, John Lundstrom, and go forward. Then he started chasing the full-back out into a wide area. The ball got played into the middle of the pitch, and it was a central midfielder who picked it up on the edge of the box, who John Lundstrom should have been marking. They're just getting dragged out of position all over the place.
Yeah, their backs against the wall once again. Ajax coming at them. As a point of admin, I suppose, that second goal has gone down for Berghaus. We said it took a big deflection off Sands to take it past McLaughlin, but the effort was on target, so it has been accredited to the Ajax midfielder. Alvarez, Berghaus and Kudus the goal scorers for the home side, and here they come once more through Taylor, left-footed shot, diving McLaughlin palms it away, danger remains, although the hooked effort is then thumped clear by Tavernier. It's going to be a throw into Ajax.
It's 3-0. McLaughlin's made 3 good saves. They've had a free header from 6 yards out, go over the top. This could easily have been a lot more.
Yeah, into the final 5 minutes, Ajax 3, Rangers 0 on TalkSport 2. Bergwijn receives it from Alvarez, and they go back to Timber. And here's Wrench, left-hand side of the Rangers half. Options ahead of him, goes for Blind on the left-hand side, and Kudus not able to keep the ball in, looking for a little bit of fancy trickery to flick it past the Rangers defenders. Goes out of play. It will be a throw-in to the visitors. Solid stop, just seeing the replay there from Taylor's effort. McLaughlin diving, would expect him to keep it out, but he did well. But once again, Rangers not able to keep the ball at all, Matt Holland. That has been the story of this first half.
Yeah, as they've given it away far too cheaply, far too often. And then they've had so much defending to do.
Well, 75% possession is what Ajax have had so far. They've had 9 shots, 4 of those on target. Rangers 25% possession, just the 1 shot which was off target. Stats don't always paint the picture, but I think on this occasion it gives a pretty good indication of what we've seen in the opening 41 and a half minutes.
I'm surprised the gap's not bigger.
Yeah,
I really am. It feels like it's been all Ajax.
and it's them in possession again. And we said it earlier in the half, Matt, but in terms of the tempo of the game, Ajax can do what they want when they want, can't they? That's how it feels at the moment. Under absolutely no pressure, they want to slow it down, no problem. We see Kudus, who scored the 3rd goal, battling for it once more and coming away with it, laying off to Bassi. It is so one-sided as Blind has it on the left, cuts it back to Bassi. Here's the goal scorer Berghaus. Now Taylor, happy to go back to Alvarez. Taylor once more, 2.5 of normal time remaining. Not going to have much added on at the end of this first half. Alvarez inside the centre circle. Forward ball is cleared by Sand, but once again all he can do is thump the clearance back towards Pasveer, who hasn't really had to play as a goalkeeper in this first half. He's been an extra outfield player pretty much, just passing ball out to his defence when it comes through. No shots to deal with. Here's Bergwijn. Blind goes once more, nice 1-2. Blind then lays it on towards Taylor, left-hand side, lovely back heel for Blind. Here's Tadic. Challenge comes in to win the ball from Tillman. Home fans want the free kick, nothing awarded. Still with Ajax though. Taylor a little bit of space. Bassi outside and squares it to Bergwijn. Tries to lay it off for the forward runner. It comes back once more and McLaughlin punches the fizzing shot clear from Tadic. It'll go out of play for a throw-in on the left.
Well, I still can't quite work out what Rangers are doing in the wide positions and how they're getting outnumbered so often. They have so many bodies in the middle of the pitch, nobody out wide. And Ajax are creating 3v1s, not 2v1, we're talking about 3v1s here. Taylor's making some really good runs down the left-hand side. Him, Bergwijn and Daley Blind are having so much time and space.
And we just saw the replay there, and I just pointed out to you quickly in terms of the shape of that Rangers defence when they're having to do it. There was no shape. There was no discernible shape to what they were trying to do.
It was just 8 men in the middle of the box.
Yeah. Everyone scrambling, just trying to block the shot as Ajax come once more down that right-hand side, which has been a real thorn in Rangers' side throughout the first half. 60 seconds of normal time to go. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Talk about holding on. Backs against the wall for the visitors and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. What does he change in the second half? You'd think we surely have to see substitutes at half-time. Here is Alvarez fizzing ball in towards the midfield. Now it's on the right hand side once again. Tadic looking to play it down the touchline. Kamara gets it out, and that's going to be another corner. And he took the lead from a corner from the same side. 30 seconds to go. Home fans want another one. They want a 4th. As Alvarez, the goal scorer of that headed goal from the corner earlier on in the half, he comes up for it. Bassi's there as well. In swinging delivery, left-footed in towards the 6-yard box. McLaughlin is there, doesn't collect it first time, but immediately dives on it as the ball hits the turf. And we will see Just the 1 minute of added time at the end of the opening 45 minutes, which Rangers, I'd have thought, we just want to see out here. Ajax taking the lead through Alvarez, then Berghaus with a deflected effort getting their second, and just a couple of minutes after that, Kudus getting the third. A wonderful solo effort from the front man for Ajax.
Yeah, Ajax have been sensational. Rangers have been really poor, and I think that's the bottom line. I think that's why the gap is so big in this match. If Rangers play at their level, they can give Ajax a match, and if Ajax aren't quite at it, then you fancy Rangers, they can get something out of this game. But as it is, Ajax have been at the top of their performance levels, and Rangers have been right at the bottom, and that's why the gap between the two sides has looked so vast.
Well, we wondered if we would see a response. There is space through the middle just for a moment there. Goldson with the forward pass. Tillman in a pocket of space. The Ajax back forward had just parted, but they couldn't quite get the pass through to him. As the half-time whistle goes, Ajax leading 3-0. Well, what a first half of football. The thoughts of the former Republic of Ireland midfielder Matt Holland.
Yeah, well, Ajax are 3 goals to the good. It could have been more. They have been brilliant. The way they've manipulated the ball, the way they've kept the ball, the pace at which they've played, they've done things 1 and 2 touch, and they've created overloads in wide areas and dragged Rangers all over the place. Now, Rangers obviously suffered a humiliating defeat in the Old Firm derby at the weekend, and they haven't been able to respond. Slow start to this one, and honestly, they've been as poor as they could be. 3 goals behind, and the gap, it doesn't flatter Ajax, that scoreline. They totally deserve to be in front, and it could easily have been more.
Are you surprised by the lack of response to that thumping in the Old Firm?
I am a little bit, yeah. Only one change from that defeat. Thought he might have freshened it up a little bit more. Thought there might have been 2 or 3 changes and just put a bit of fresh energy into the team. He didn't do that. He hasn't done that, and well, they paid the price. They just look really lethargic. They look off it, and Ajax look a step ahead all over the pitch. They look a yard quicker, and they have been exceptional, but Rangers have been poor.
And you would have thought it won't be long, well, probably at half-time, surely will be a number of changes for Van Bronckhorst.
Well, surely you can see that the problems that they're having, and I said early on in the game how it was after 5 minutes you could see that the wide areas were going to be a problem. I said that Tadic and Bergwijn was started the game really well. I said if you're an Ajax player, you keep feeding them. You've got the full-backs bombing forward. Daley Blinder made some really good runs forward, as did Wrench. I mean, Wrench got himself in some brilliant positions as the right back. The midfielders create the overload, so Taylor comes over to the left-hand side, Bergwijn over to the right-hand side, and they're creating 3v1s, 3v2s in wide positions. That's something that Gio Van Bronckhorst surely has to see early on in the game and do something about. Whether it's a change of shape, whether it's a change of personnel, whatever it might be, he should have done something about it sooner, but now he's got 15 minutes to do something, to try and get Rangers back into it. To be honest, I don't see a way back for them. All I see is damage limitation.
And as you say, Ajax have been brilliant, the front 3 in particular, but the midfield behind them as well. They've controlled the game.
Excellent. The movement, the rotation of positions as well. Said about Bassi and how sometimes he drives into midfield and he makes an extra body, but then Alvarez reads it and sees it and he just drops in. And the movement and the rotation, if you lose the ball, you get back into somebody else's slot or you get back into your slot. Everything they're doing, you can see they've been well coached, well drilled. As for Rangers, I mean, they look all over the show.
Well, we'll be back for the second half of commentary. Rangers have waited 12 years to be back in the group stage of the Champions League. It couldn't really have been a worse opening 45 minutes to their campaign. The half-time score, Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Well, there have been changes. James Tavernier has left the pitch, Leon King replacing him. And there's also been a change further up the pitch. Rabbi Matondo has come on for Rangers. Just get confirmation in just a moment of who he has replaced. Scott Wright it is, the man that came in, departs the field. So Matondo in for Wright. And as we say, Matt, no surprise there for those 2 changes. And there might be a third as well. We're just waiting to get confirmation of these. We said that Van Bronckhorst would most likely make dramatic changes at half-time. That seems to be the case as the game gets back underway, and it's Ajax 3, Rangers 0, the home side getting us back underway and playing from left to right in this second half.
Well, the first observation is that Rangers have gone to a back 5. That's what they've done. They've made 5-4-1, and it is just a case of getting men behind the ball, keeping your shape, going runners, getting tackles in, and let's not get beat 5 or 6. Because, to be honest, at half-time it could have been 5 or 6. Ajax was so good. Their movement, just Rangers couldn't cope with it. I think Gio van Bronckhorst has looked at this and thought, there's no way back. We've just got to try and accept that we're going to get beaten this game now. If we end up losing this 3-1, then we'll take it. Because honestly, if they play like they did in the first period, it'll finish 7 or 8.
That must be incredibly demoralising at half-time when you kind of know that you're ultimately setting up in the second half to just not concede anymore. You know the game's gone.
But it's important for the long term that you don't get beat 7 or 8. Can you imagine if they turn up at this one and get beat 7 or 8? I mean, it's the worst.
Napoli and Liverpool would be licking their lips.
And they've just been beaten 4 by Celtic, and then this happens as well. That first half, if you're trying to find a positive, there wasn't one. There was literally nothing that first half you can be positive about.
Well, we'll see what comes in the second 45 minutes. I suppose the flip side of that as well, Matt, is that Ajax, looking at this group, it's a tough group with Napoli and Liverpool in it as well. They might look at this and think goal difference could come into it. You never know what's going to happen down the line. They're going to want a few more. Yeah, definitely. And look, I think Rangers are a team that at home can cause 1 or 2 problems for some of the sides in division in this group. I'm not saying that they're going to win too many matches, but they can cause you a lot of problems. So we'll see. A long way to go in the group stages, but worst possible start for Rangers. Well, as we say, a couple of changes for Rangers at half-time. The other one of those is Ryan Jack coming on in place of Malik Tillman as well. So King Matondo and Jack all on for Giovanni van Bronckhorst's side. 3 changes, change of shape as well. We are 2 minutes into the second half here on TalkSport 2. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Early chance for Bergwijn to get down that left-hand touchline, close to the corner flag, keeps the ball in and is going to lay it back to Blind. Bit of a heavy touch from Blind. Slide challenge means that Jack then just takes the ball away from him and Rangers get their foot on it, but are under pressure. Jack finding it in midfield, pass up the touchline for Matondo, who then just loses out but wins a free kick in the process. Ajax players can't believe it. It's inside the Ajax half, but a long way from goal. But an early touch for Rabi Matondo, and he wins a free kick. That's about as good a composure as we've seen from Rangers. The way that they played out from the back, it was John Lundstrom actually who's gone into that back through, which is what I said just before half-time. I thought that might be the way forward. Put him into the back three, and you've got his ability then to pass it into midfield, and they kept the ball, and Matondo, and that responsibility, taking it up the pitch, winning a foul, just getting a breather. It's going to be Kent to stand over this delivery. Rangers will send it towards that Ajax penalty area. Had no efforts on target in the opening 45 minutes. Long looping delivery is in there. It's a half-decent effort in the end. Goes wide of the target from Sands, the centre-back that was up there at the back post. Didn't get a great contact on the ball. This is the second effort from Rangers in the game. Goes wide of the target, remains 3-0 to Ajax. Maybe should have done a bit better actually. It was a looping ball into the area. It was one that needed to be attacked, and he got there first and got a clean header on it. There was actually good movement at the far post, and maybe just backtracking. Bassi did enough to put him under enough pressure. Problem in the middle of the pitch though for one of the Ajax players. Just rolled his ankle as he was running back into the area. Yeah, Taylor it is. He's back up on his feet and will carry on. Looked in a bit of discomfort for just a moment, but Sands found a small pocket of space there as the long ball comes forward towards Tadic. Then he lays it off to Wrench, who's on the overlap, just about keeps it in, the Ajax right back, but Rangers back in possession. Then the ball goes out of play, and that is going to be an Ajax throw-in. Yeah, that was better from Ryan Kent as well, just tracking the run of Wrench. He didn't do that at all in the first half. Maybe he didn't get enough help, didn't get enough communication from those behind him. I think the way they're set up now, though, Rangers, the 2 wider centre-backs have got licence to come out and help the wing-backs as well in those positions where they were getting outnumbered. That's what they needed, wasn't it, in that first half, at 6s and 7s for a lot of the time. 5 minutes into the second 45 here on TalkSport 2. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Here is Berghuis. tries to play the ball up towards the edge of the penalty area. Rangers intercept it, but then under pressure to try and clear it. McLaughlin has it at his feet, and will shift it to the right-hand side. And King.
Even just watching Borna Barisic then, he just narrowed off too early. He's a wing-back now, he's not a full-back. He doesn't necessarily have to make those defensive route runs back into his back, alongside his back three. Doesn't need to do that. He needs to keep his position really in that wide area now and go man for man.
Ajax in possession through Bassi, just inside their own half. Matt Holland there, former Republic of Ireland midfielder, alongside myself, Alfie Reynolds. Just talking about Rangers going to the kind of 3 at the back, 5 at the back, depending how you look at it. Mainly a 5 at the back with how much defending there's 5 takes to do in this game, isn't it?
It's 5. It's 5-4-1. It's the way that Rangers have set up. Now, I said he had a choice at half-time. To be adventurous? Do you decide to try and chase the game? Well, the way they played in that first half, there's no way they were going to chase the game. So he's gone defensive. He's gone practical, he's pragmatic. He's gone, we're going to just keep this scoreline as it is. Don't lose any more goals. They keep a clean sheet in the second half.
Well, they're going to be up against it from what we've seen in the opening 6.5 of the second half. It's still all Ajax. Here is Taylor on the left. Squares the ball to Bassi. Blind. Back to Timber inside the centre circle. He's happy to go all the way back to his goalkeeper. This was something we saw in that first half. Matt Holland. Ajax, even though they're completely dominating the game, quite happy just to reset when they feel that that's the best option and slow things down before coming at Rangers again.
Yeah, and actually switch play as well. The area down the left-hand side was closed off. That's when they go back, recycle it, maybe come out on the right-hand side. It's important they switch it quickly if they're going to do that.
So we're looking to play it quickly down the touchline there. A little 1-2 doesn't come off, so King plays it back to goalkeeper McLaughlin. Chip ball into midfield. Kamara's never going to win that. Then Jack battling for it and is back at the feet of Bassi once more. It's a familiar pattern to this game, really. You could take that little clip of commentary and play it throughout the rest of the match. Ajax with all the possession, well over 70% of it. All of the efforts on target as well. Here is Bassi. Timber to his right hand side. Haven't been put under any sort of pressure, the Ajax back four. Leading 3-0 here on TalkSport 2. Kudus, the goal scorer of the third goal. Best goal of the bunch for Ajax. Sensational solo effort about 34 minutes into the game. Here's Alvarez. Chip ball over towards Blind on the left hand side. He's going to lay it off to Berghaus, who drives at the back four, lays it off to Kudus, but he loses control. Back in possession for Rangers. Here is Kent on the left, beats one man and finds the option of Jack on the left hand touchline. It's all fairly slow stuff from Rangers, happy to get their foot on it. Matt Holland, something they weren't able to do much of in that opening half.
It's probably the longest they've kept the ball in the whole game. 8 or 9 passes now that Rangers have had. It's better from them, just slowing the game down. Mind you, Ajax haven't exactly come out at the same tempo that we saw in the first half either.
I think the change in formation has had an impact, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Rangers already look a lot harder to break down.
I think that's helped, but also, Ajax are 3 goals for the good. They've done the job in the first half. The way they're looking at it, the emphasis isn't on them to go and really go at Rangers now. They can just pass the ball around, and they have been able to do that. When Rangers drop off into that 5-4-1 formation, Ajax can pass it around quite easily at the back, no pressure.
There's a free kick in the meantime. Barisic just on the end of a late challenge, so free kick to Rangers inside the Ajax half. Another opportunity for a long delivery in towards the penalty area. We'll see what they can muster. Rangers very deep, high line for Ajax from this free kick. Will eventually get the game back underway. Barisic with the delivery, headed back across goal, but was an infringement in the build-up there, and it's going to be a free kick to Ajax. 10 minutes into the second half, Ajax 3, Rangers 0. And there's one of the home players just down in a slight bit of discomfort. Alvarez it is, scored the first goal of the game.
And that's why the free kick has been given Ajax's way.
Off the ball, wasn't it? Between
Connor Goldson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Alvarez likes the physical contact though, doesn't he?
I was going to say, it's always him involved, isn't it? Whenever there's been anything like that in this game.
He's had an easy day, hasn't he? He's been quite comfortable, under no real pressure in that holding midfield position. But every time that Rangers have tried to counter, he's been quick to make a challenge, and he's not shy of making a tackle.
To be fair to Goldson, it's the point he's just making to the referee. I'm not sure there was too much in that challenge.
6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah, very much so. Went the way of the Ajax man. Goldson just pleading his case to the referee. Don't think Rangers were about to get a particularly good goal-scoring opportunity anyway, but a bit of a harsh foul against the Rangers centre-back, who just tries to clear the ball there, get great contact with it. Kamara stops it from going out of play, and then Ajax get a foot on it and do knock it out. So on that right-hand side in the wing-back position, Rangers will have the throw-in.
It's a fairly scrappy passage of play, really, or period in the game. And that'll suit Rangers, they won't mind that at all.
Well, I was just going to say, this is almost exactly how Rangers would have wanted the first half to be. Make it awkward, make it scrappy. They'd have been quite happy with that. As it was open, Ajax controlled it and went 3-0 up.
Yeah, I bet Van Bronckhorst wished he picked a back three to start the game.
I think he'll learn from this, though, in terms of the Champions League going forward, particularly, with Napoli and Liverpool to come, 2 more really tough games. It's not a group where there's one of those teams that you look at and think, that's maybe a softer challenge for Rangers. Do you think Van Bronckhorst will learn a lot from this?
He's got to. The level of opposition only gets greater, doesn't it? I think when you look at Liverpool, that's their next game, isn't it? Away at Liverpool, away at Anfield. Crikey. Good luck.
Yeah. Find themselves 3 down here on TalkSport 2.
No, actually they're Napoli next, aren't they? And then at Anfield. Napoli at home.
Here's Bergwijn, a little bit of space. First time for Bergwijn in this second half. On the left, cuts it back infield. Kudus to Berghuis. He's going to lay it off to Blind. And now Taylor back to Blind. And that passage of play right there, Matt Holland, almost sums it up. In the first half, when Ajax got into that position with Bergwijn advanced on the left-hand side, it ended up the ball going into the box and then probably having a chance. Here they've just had to reset.
Exactly, recycle. Keep the ball. And Rangers don't mind that. If Ajax are passing it around at the back, Timber to Bassi, back to Timber, they won't mind that. Daley Blind getting involved as well.
Bergwijn, a more central position, just picked it up there, but they lose out. Rangers through Barisic have the ball at the back, long ball forward, slight deflection on it. Kamara can only flick it on in the midfield, and that gives possession back to the home side. Kudus comes away with it, and now it's Berghuis, who was credited with the second goal, took a big deflection off James Sands.
Probably just going on target though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was curling towards that far corner. It was probably just making its way inside, which is why he's been given the goal.
Yeah, the replay suggested it would have probably just about nestled in the corner. Lovely play from Bergwijn, skips away from a challenge, running at the back 4 now. It's a good recovery challenge though to take it away from him. Rangers back in possession. But once again, Matt Holland, they're just not able to keep the ball, give it away straight away.
No, it's better. They've got numbers behind the ball and they've won a few challenges and they have tried to break, but this time it's John Lundstrom driving into midfield from that back 3 position and left the ball short. I say left the ball short. In fairness, Calvin Bassey read it well. He was on the front foot, his defending, just stepping in front of his man and picking up possession for Ajax again.
Yeah, Calvin Bassey will be enjoying the first hour against his former side so far.
He's not been put under too much pressure, has he?
I'd imagine it's one of those you always want to put in a performance and get the result when you're coming up against your former teammates. He's very much getting that at the moment.
He's fancying his chances. He keeps going forward as well. He keeps picking the ball up and driving with the ball.
He hasn't been afraid of getting forward, has he? Like most of the back 4 for Ajax. Here's Bergwijn, meanwhile. Cuts onto his right foot outside the area. Plays it back to Blind once more. Had to do that a couple of times already as they struggle to create more of an opportunity. Now the delivery does come in towards the box, and that's going to be headed behind for a corner. Mix up at the back between Barisic and Sands, and that goes out of play. Corner to Ajax.
All it needed was a shout. He didn't get it, and he's making that point as well to Barisic. If I hear a shout, I'll leave it, but as I didn't, I have to deal with the ball.
Tadic with the delivery then. It's going to go short to Taylor, and then the delivery comes in. Ajax battling for it on the edge of the area. Tadic falls to ground. Kamara then comes away with it. Up the touchline is Matondo. Sliding challenge from Berghaus. Then gets the nutmeg on Jack. So Ajax on the right hand side through Berghaus, crossing position. Lovely little back heel. Delivery in towards the area, and that's not going to trouble anyone. No white and red shirted players there, and McLaughlin will come away with it.
A few party tricks from Ajax as well now. Just past the hour mark, just in a back heel, a little nutmeg. Really enjoying their evening's work.
Well, here's Kamara for Rangers, coming away with it. Tried to find space on that right hand side, not able to pick the pass. And in midfield it's a sloppy ball which forces Jack into a lunging, diving challenge. Free kick given, and it's going to be a yellow card for the replacement for Rangers in that midfield on Tadic. First card of the game, and a desperate challenge really.
He was always second favourite, sliding in from a distance, catches Tadic, but I guess on the plus side it's a challenge, it's a tackle, it's a bit of competitiveness which we haven't really seen enough of from Rangers.
I'd have thought that would have been part of the message at half time, just to let them know a little bit more.
It's pride, isn't it? You're playing for personal pride. That first half performance was so well below par, but they had to do something, got to show a bit more character.
A reminder that following us here on TalkSport 2, we have more Champions League action for you. Kicking off at 8 is Napoli against Liverpool. Ian Danter and the former Republic of Ireland striker David Connolly will be your commentary team for that one. And also 8 o'clock kick-off over on TalkSport, it's Tottenham against Marseille. Sam Matterface and the former England defender Stuart Pearce will bring you that one. Here come Ajax once more. Kudus, space to run at the back five of Rangers. Lays it off to the right-hand side. Tadic, couple of step-overs, lays it off to Bergwijn, back to Kudus, a little bit of space. Tadic onto his right foot. Now his Berghaus on the right-hand side, crossing position, chip ball in towards the box. It's headed clear. Only as far as Bassi though. Ajax looking to get their fourth, leading 3-0 as things stand. King with the stretch challenge takes the ball away from Bergwijn, out of play for a throw.
Well, more intelligent play from Kudus in the build-up there for Ajax. The way he just drops into midfield, gets on the half turn, looks forward. But if you're a back three, now you've got to go tight. If that centre forward with Kudus, one of you has to go tight with him. You've still got bodies around, you've still got two who can narrow off and worry about that ball over the top and worry about the space that he leaves. But one of that back three has to go all the way in and not allow him to turn.
Which is what they did just a moment ago as you were speaking there, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. It was Conor Golson this time. He went all the way in with him. 10 yards into midfield.
Ajax building from the back again. Mentioned in the first half the possession statistics. And I'd imagine they're going to be exactly the same here in this second half. Well over 70% for the home side. Here's Bergwijn up against King. Edge of the area, cuts onto his right foot, Bergwijn. No goal in this one yet, but in fine goal scoring form this season. Lays it off to Taylor. And now Blind is building as steadily as they want Ajax.
Not as many spaces really for Ajax to work in now. It's a little bit tighter, a little bit more congested.
Here is Kudus, edge of the area, skipping around one challenge and another, looking to get past the third, just sees the ball run away from him. Scrambling Rangers defence, eventually hooks it clear. Kudus, who scored a beauty in the first half, was looking for another wonder goal there. Ajax back underway through Taylor, ball in towards the penalty area, not controlled by Blind, and Lundstrom gets it away for another throw in Matt Holland.
Listen to that noise, that mazy run from Kudus. Messi-esque, wasn't it? The way he picked the ball up in his body shape, the way he just dropped his shoulder to get away from people. 3 or 4 Rangers bodies around him, somehow he wriggled his way into the area.
And he's looked really good so far in this game. He scored a brilliant goal in the first half. Mentioned earlier as well that he was linked with a move away from the club. He's stuck around. He said he's getting his head down. This is his first start. He's been really, really impressive.
Yeah, he's been excellent. Really, I mean, he's not the only one. There's been plenty of standout performances.
There's another one. Bergwijn looking to work the ball in towards Kudus, who couldn't work a challenge on goal, was under a lot of pressure, but it deflected off. Goldson goes behind for the corner for Ajax.
So he's really occupied those three centre-backs, hasn't he? 2 in the first half, 3 in the second half that Rangers are occupying.
Short corner comes in towards Alvarez. The ball just bounced in front of him. His header loops over the crossbar. Couldn't really get a handle on it. The danger remains for Rangers. It's still 3-0.
The danger does remain for Rangers. You don't see any way back for them. You're not looking at this thinking Rangers are, and if they get one now, they might get back into it. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like Ajax are more likely to get the next goal in the game. It's a wonderful run from Kudus. It really was, the way he dribbled past 3 or 4 Rangers men.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. 66 minutes on the clock. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. Here's Matondo on the right hand side, crossing position, does deliver early, decent cross, and in fact it goes behind off Wrench, I think it was in the end. And it was a diving pass here, the first thing the Ajax goalkeeper has really had to do in the game.
Almost out of nothing, isn't it? Matondo down the right-hand side delivers a really good ball in across the 6-yard box. Ryan Kent's coming in from that left-hand side, but he's just a little bit late arriving, and he actually got the last touch.
Yeah, it looked for all the world it would have been a corner, but it must have been Kent that did get that final touch. Ajax back underway from the goal kick. Better from Matondo though, picking the ball up, delivering early. As Ajax building here, lovely 1-2, Berghuis, great save. McLaughlin stretching out his right boot, an offside flag is raised anyway, so the goal wouldn't have counted. But the Rangers defence unlocked with some quick passing from Ajax, and it was a good save in the end from McLaughlin.
Yeah, Ajax break quickly. They break really quickly. It's the first time we've seen Rangers in an advanced position, which has just left a few more spaces at the back. Where they really caused Rangers problems, there's 1-2s around the area and not going with the runners. When they played it inside and then continued their run, Rangers haven't gone with their runners at all. Actually, this time it's probably a good job that they didn't, otherwise they might well have played him onside.
As the Ajax substitutes just head down the touchline to get warmed up. They'll probably be eyeing this game as a substitute, Matt Holland, thinking, well, here's a chance to impress. This is exactly the sort of opposition that you like to make your case to the manager for why he should be starting next week.
Yeah, desperate to come on and get yourself a goal. Get yourself on the score sheet. Just give the manager a little reminder.
There's a couple of players out there that are probably still wanting that as well. Steven Bergwijn being one of them. We mentioned he's had a good goal-scoring start to the season. Not on the score sheet yet tonight here. As we approach the final 20 minutes of the game, no goals in the second half so far. Here is Bergwijn just knocking it past Lundstrom down the touchline, step overs, cuts onto his right foot, edge of the penalty area, lays it off to Taylor. Now Bergwijn, strong shot, easy save in the end from McLaughlin, straight at the Rangers goalkeeper.
There you go, there he is looking for his goal. As soon as he got half a yard, one thing in his mind: can I get a shot away? Can I hit the target? Can I ask a question of the goalkeeper? Just too close to him.
Because often in the game he's cut onto his right foot in that position and just hasn't had the space. As soon as he got that bit of space, you knew that he was letting it fly.
Yeah, so often around the box Ajax play little 1-2s. They've not looked to shoot from distance. He had one, I think, where he dragged it wide in the first half, but generally they decided against shooting from distance and looked to try and dribble or play little 1-2s around the area and get themselves into the box that way.
And to be fair to them, it's worked, hasn't it? So far in this game, you can't fault that. But on that occasion, with the 3-goal cushion for Ajax, Bergwijn just letting fly from distance, McLaughlin had it covered.
And as you said, he wants to get himself on the score sheet, wants another goal. 7 already in an Ajax shirt.
Giovanni Van Bronckhorst just on the edge of his technical area there as Rangers get the game back underway from a free kick in the left-back position. I mean, look, you're never going to be happy when you're 3 down and you've been so comprehensively outplayed, Matt Holland, but he'll be more pleased with what he's seen in the second half so far. Yeah,
he will. I mean, the message at half-time is, let's go back to basics.
Well, here's Kent on the left-hand side. A little bit of space for him. Hasn't had much in the game. Parallel with the penalty area. Driving into it close to the byline. Just lays it off here for Berisic. Right-footed shot. Oh, what a goal. What a goal that is. Barisic, the goal scorer, from the left-hand side, receiving the pass from Kent, cutting onto his right foot and letting fly, curling effort into the top-hand corner. It's comfortably the best effort of the game, but will it come back for offside, Matt Holland, as we see the replays in front of us? Kent may have just been offside from that delivery.
This might well just sum up Rangers' evening. Long ball over the top. Ryan Kent was making his way back towards the halfway line, saw the ball was coming to him over the top, and then made the run to go towards the ball. And he does well, actually, just to feed the ball back to Barisic, under pressure from two Ajax players, who curls a wonderful effort into the top corner, take nothing away from the finish, over Timber's head, keeper can't get there, gets maybe the slightest of fingers to it, but can't keep it out. But I think this is going to be ruled out. I think he was just offside.
Yeah, the replays that we've seen have suggested that it was offside. Rangers thought they had perhaps a consolation goal. Sensational finish it was from Barisic, curling across goal into the top corner. Pasveer just diving, got a slight touch to it but couldn't keep it out. But the original ball for Kent from right to left, the long diagonal, is being checked by the VAR. Surprisingly long goal check here. The first replay we saw, Matt Holland, I thought it looked pretty clear cut. In fact, we have the decision and it is offside. Rangers' frustrations grow. Barisic with a slight smirk on his face. It's been such hard work for Rangers in this game. We do see the replays. It's comfortably offside.
What's that, 2 yards offside?
Yeah.
Ryan Kent, he's just a little bit slow in getting himself back into an onside position. And in actual fact, Barisic, when he finished that effort into the top corner, didn't even celebrate, did he? I mean, he knows that they've been well beaten this evening anyway, and didn't celebrate, and now he knows why. Dry smile, Ryan Kent was offside.
So it remains Ajax 3, Rangers 0 here on TalkSport 2. 72 minutes gone. Long ball forward, picks out Bergwijn down the left. Recovering challenge is a decent one from King. Knocks it out of play. It had to be, didn't it? Just as Rangers, their first really good bit of play of the game, and the goal's ruled out correctly for offside.
Yeah, he was a couple of yards off.
First effort on target as well, is it, in the game? Just trying to remember.
It won't count now.
It won't count anyway, yeah, that's true. I think they maybe had one other effort actually on goal, but that does sum up the evening for Rangers. Coming off that 4-0 defeat to Celtic, looking for a response here, the excitement of being back in the group stage of the Champions League. It's all been a little bit frustrating, summed up by that disallowed goal for offside for Barisic. Here's Berghuis. Giving the ball away. Kent, though, first touch just eludes him under plenty of pressure as well. And it's Ajax inside the centre circle.
Technically gifted side, aren't they, Ajax? Everybody comfortable on the ball, looking at the two centre backs. They want the ball all the time. Everyone looking to get on it, even if they're tightly marked, even if they're on in a couple of yards or so, and there's bodies around them. Taylor now just cleverly just gets himself into a space, but wants the ball all the time.
Yeah, they've looked impressive, the home side, throughout the game. As I said, there's a style of football with Ajax, isn't there? Something we expect. They recruit players that can play that way. All of them, as you mentioned, Matt, comfortable with the ball at their feet.
Sounds Scottish, doesn't it? Kenneth Taylor in midfield, right? We could easily be Scottish.
Well, they might try and claim him after this. He's been one of a number of impressive players for Ajax. Here's Bergwijn, he's another one.
He doesn't sound Scottish.
No, not so much. Did just receive the pass from Blind, and that's given away. Lundstrom plays it back to McLaughlin. Under pressure straight away from Kudus.
Great pressure from Ajax. Yeah, he didn't have a moment to think about it, did he, McLaughlin? Straight away, there's somebody closing him down.
And they've done that throughout the game as well. There's been very few moments in this match where Rangers have got their foot on the ball and been able to take their time and build. They've constantly felt like they're in a rush.
It's been an all-round performance from Ajax. It really has, with and without the ball. Not been often without it, but when they have, they've been quick to close Rangers down.
Yeah, McLaughlin, the final touch actually came off Kudus, who was closing him down so well that he just got his studs onto the ball. And it is Rangers throwing in that right back position, which they just get way up the touchline, and that gives the ball straight back to the home side. Here's Bassi. 15 minutes of normal time remaining. Ajax 3, Rangers 0. All of the goals coming in the first half to 17 minutes for Alvarez, a free header from a corner. Then with just over half an hour played, Berghuis had a deflected shot which McLaughlin could do nothing about, which went past the Rangers keeper. And then just a minute or so after that, the best of the lot, Kudus solo effort turning Tavernier, and then from the left of the area a shot across goal which, like a missile, hit the inside of the post and went into the back of the net. Ajax lead 3-0, and they've been well worth that lead, Matt Holland.
More than 3, to be honest. The first half performance warranted 5 on its own. Second half has been more competitive for Rangers. They've been more difficult to break down. They've been a tighter defensive unit. They've worked harder. They've created, or they've carried a threat, should I say, on the counter. It's been a better second half, but Ajax have just dropped a few levels because the job was done in that first period.
Do you worry if you're a Rangers fan? We saw the defeat to Celtic, 4-0 in the Old Firm. They're 5 points behind their rivals in the league table. It's so early in the season, I know that, but maybe less so the result, but the performance in particular would concern you.
Yeah, I think I do worry for them a little bit. Celtic look in a good place at the moment. The way that they're playing, I like the manager, and they look in good shape. So I do worry already that they're 5 points behind in the title race. This weekend, travel to Aberdeen, who are in third place as well, so another tricky fixture for them.
Yeah, well, it's only match week 1, but Rangers have only ever qualified for the knockout stages of the Champions League once in their previous 10 attempts, and by the looks of things they're setting themselves a tall order in Group A as well here, as we see another replacement. Kamara is going to leave the field. His evening's work is done, 76 minutes on the clock. Stephen Davis will replace him, and Stephen Davis, one of the few players in the Rangers team who played for them last time they played in the Champions League, way back 12 years ago. The other one of those is Alan McGregor, the replacement goalkeeper on the bench. And Stephen Davis just come on for the closing stages of this match.
Just fresh legs, isn't it, really? I think giving Glenn Kamara a rest as well ahead of the weekend's game, so it's a tricky fixture. It's 3 changes at half-time, it's another one now. It's just a bit more of a rest here.
Let's look to rotate the squad. Rangers happy to keep this at 3-0, as it was at half-time. Approaching the final 10 minutes of the game, Ajax still looking very, very comfortable. Haven't had anywhere near as much in the way of opportunities though in this second half.
It's been tighter. It's been more difficult for them to break Rangers down. I think the shape of Rangers has been much better. They've gone with their runners better. They've been more competitive. They've closed down quicker.
Well, here they come once more. The long ball forward from Alvarez doesn't quite pick out Bergwijn on this occasion. Rangers under pressure straight away though. That's a little bit better to get the ball in midfield towards Jack, but his pass is then behind Atondo, and that will be a throw-in on the right-hand side, but it will be for Rangers. Last touch coming off Daley Blind, who's just hobbling, and it's going to be a couple of changes as well for the home side in just a moment when the play stops. So we're back underway from that throw-in. Rangers through Sands, and now Goldson and Lundstrom, the 3 centre-backs now for Van Bronckhorst's side. This is almost as much as we've seen Rangers get their foot on the ball in this match. We've said already, very few opportunities to knock the passes about. They have got it here. Here's Kent. Barisic, the man that had that goal disallowed for offside a short while ago, and that's a really poor back pass. Bergwijn throwing it, rounds the goalkeeper, 4-0. Just as I was saying, Rangers had the ball at their feet. Bergwijn intercepts a really wayward pass. He's picked up a knock in the process. In fact, he's just cramping, having rounded the goalkeeper and slotted into the back of the net. And Steven Bergwijn's resurgence at Ajax continues. He notches another goal at the start of this season, intercepting Jack's back pass, and it's Ajax 4, Rangers 0.
This is a carbon copy of the weekend's game against Celtic. 3 down at half-time, concede a 4th in the second period from overplaying. It was John McLaughlin, wasn't it, who gave the ball away against Celtic. This time it's Ryan Jack. I mean, it's well read by Bergwijn. He's anticipated it. He knows that he's not really had a look, and he's just trying to play it back to either Connor Goldson or even his goalkeeper, but Bergwijn's quickest to react. does brilliantly as well, because he sees McLaughlin come, he tries to stretch a right foot out and make a challenge outside the box, so can't use his hands, but he goes past him and he does get his goal. That pace of Bergwijn to get away and coolly slots home puts a bit more gloss on the scoreline for Ajax.
Well, we were saying for Steven Bergwijn that he would have wanted to get on the score sheet, couldn't have been gifted a better opportunity there, and he took it well.
Yeah, I hope he hasn't come at a cost, and whether this is a serious injury or whether it is just cramp. He's struggling away here.
It looked like cramp. He immediately went to ground after slotting the ball home. It wasn't a contact injury, because he rounded McLaughlin without getting a touch by the keeper and then slotted into the empty net. And then he fell to ground, and immediately his teammates came and looked to help him stretch. So I don't think it was anything more than cramp, as we see that plenty of the Rangers fans in Amsterdam head for the exits with their team 4 down. We are now going to get the changes. Daley Blind is going to be replaced by Yuri Bass. Also going to see the introduction of a Campos as well, I think I saw there as well, and Davy Klaassen as well.
And you notice there, David Blind as well just had a little look to his manager and said, I've got a little twinge, maybe a bit of cramp, maybe that's a bit of cramp as well from David Blind.
So Bergwijn, I think, is going to be one of those replaced. He is still struggling, and he will be replaced by Lucas Ocampos. So he comes on for Bergwijn. He's just hobbling gingerly, taking the applause from the fans, having scored that goal. And Steven Berghuis is replaced by Davy Klaassen. So 3 changes for Ajax, some fresh legs on as we enter the final 10 minutes, and they also lead Rangers by 4 goals to 0. And on the balance of play, Matt Holland, particularly that first half where we said that Ajax could have been up by more than 3 at half-time, 4-0 is a fair reflection of the match that we watched.
Absolutely. I think Ajax have been excellent. Really, really top performance from them. The way that they've moved the ball, the way that they've passed the ball, they've been sharp all over the pitch. The movement's been good. They've got pace in forward areas. They've got clever players. The movement of Kudus has really caused Rangers lots of issues. In the first half, Bergwijn and Tadic were the architects for a lot of Ajax's good play. All over the pitch, they've been streets ahead of their opposition.
Particular frustration for Rangers. I mean, look, the game was gone, but they had shored things up a little bit in this second half to then give away such a soft goal.
Yeah, sloppy, wasn't it? For once, actually, they kept a few passes and maybe they just lulled into a bit of a false sense of security and thought the ball was on to Connor Goldson, but in fairness, you have to give credit to Steven Bergwijn, who read that back pass and coolly slotted home.
Well, here is Barisic for Rangers. They have the ball at the back, but they just don't have much time or space to do anything with it. Sands now, long ball forward, that's cut out by Klaassen, can't get much on it. Bassi will pick up the afters, quick feet from Bassi driving in towards the area, half shouts for handball, nothing awarded. Shouts more coming from the Ajax fans rather than the players.
Yeah, there was. I think there were cries when he picked the ball up there for Calvin Bassi to shoot. How he'd love to get one against his former team.
Thought he was just showing mercy to his former teammates possibly by not having a go at goal. Was outside the area from the left-hand side. Here is Bassi once more.
Some noise, some atmosphere. They've enjoyed this. It's been a complete performance from the home team.
Well, speaking to Shaban in our build-up to the game, we said it would be an occasion. Ajax and Rangers, of course, wanting to get the group stage off to a perfect start, and it's the home side, and then with such a history in this competition, that have got exactly that. Here's Davy Klaassen on for the final 10 minutes with 6 minutes to play. Ajax 4, Rangers 0 here on TalkSport 2. And another reminder to not go anywhere. Coming up, 8 o'clock kickoff, Napoli against Liverpool. That match will be following us. Ian Danta and David Connolly, your commentary team. See how the other teams in this group get underway. I hope that they have plenty of goals like we have. Hopefully they're a little bit more spaced out between the two sides, make it a bit more of a contest. This one done by half-time. Here is Wrench for Ajax. Now it's Ocampos, right-hand side, crossing position, edge of the penalty area. Nothing ahead of him. Still in possession. Now it's Kudus. And Alvarez, the man that got the scoring underway for Ajax. Into the final 5 minutes of the 90 plus added on time. Bassi now inside the centre circle, and Alvarez goes all the way back to the goalkeeper, Pasveer, who has had a very, very quiet evening's work.
Yeah, I don't think he's had a save tonight. I can't remember him making a save. I really can't. He's had a lot of ball at feet, but I honestly don't think he's had a shot to save.
No, he hasn't. No shots on target for Rangers. I said earlier I thought they maybe had one. I think the stats have been updated though from the disallowed goal.
That's what it was. That was their only shot.
Here is Ajax. That's played down the touchline to Kudus. Looks offside. Assistance flag hasn't gone up yet. They will play on. Squares the ball. And here is the replacement. A Campos shot saved by McLaughlin. And not sure the flag did go up in the end. Maybe it was played on from the far hand side.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same as you. I think it was offside. I think that it was maybe a tight one. He decided to keep the flag down in case something came of it.
Might have been King on the right hand side that kept him on as the ball was played down the left.
He thought it was offside, didn't he, Kudus? He stopped for a moment before he even went to the ball.
Wasn't going to play on, was he? Then obviously realised actually might as well see what happens. Atondo looking to turn, just loses out on that right hand side as Rangers attack, and it's back at the feet of Bassi. And Matt Holland, the final minutes of this game are just going to, I think, slowly ebb away from us. Done and dusted, 4-0, a very impressive Ajax getting all 3 points in this one.
Yeah, it is, and they've been brilliant. They thoroughly deserve the win. If you're Gio van Bronckhorst though, and you're assessing this performance, you're assessing the game, there's nothing he can take away from it. I was at Man United Brentford earlier in the season. Man United were absolutely thumped by Brentford, and you're thinking, is there anything you can take? And I actually thought Malassia's performance when he came on, and he showed a bit of spirit, he showed a bit of fight when he came onto the pitch in that match. I'm looking tonight at Rangers. There's not one performance, there's not one player, there's not one part of the game where I can say, yeah, they've done that well, they've done that right, he's made a difference, he's shown a bit of character. There's nothing that Van Bronckhorst can take away from this game.
Yeah, the only thing, and this is me stretching, is how they changed formation in the second half, and that made things a lot tighter.
It made it more difficult, the shape was better, it was harder for Ajax to break them down. But you never felt there was a way back into the game for Rangers at all. You always felt as though it was damage limitation, that change.
Yeah, I was clutching at straws there in terms of positives. I thought I'd try and give something to the Rangers fans listening. It unfortunately hasn't been a great evening, particularly following the defeat to Celtic. 4-0 here, we've got 2 minutes of normal time to play. And has there just been another replacement there for Ajax as well? In the meantime, Sanchez has come onto the pitch in place of Alvarez, and we're also going to see Brian Brobby come on as well in place of Mohamed Kudus. So a couple of goal scorers departing for the home side, using up their substitutes. And both guys, in fact, Alvarez and Kudus, impressive evenings.
Yeah, very impressive. And Alvarez has played at walking pace. He's had absolute, it's been very easy for him in the middle of the pitch. Kudus, very clever. Movement's been good. His hold-up play was excellent. I think in the first half with a 100% pass success rate. He's drifted into dangerous areas. He's linked play nicely with his wide players. I think he's had an excellent night. He scored a fabulous goal as well. An absolute rocket.
It was a sensational goal, the best of the bunch. Definitely worth seeing on the replay. Great solo effort. And we're into the final 60 seconds of normal time. Have a bit of added on time for all the substitutes in this second half. I guess the question, Matt Holland, is where do Rangers go from here? Because we were saying just now, very little in the way of positives as Jack receives the ball in an advanced position and lays it back to Atondo. Class and then intercepts and wins it back for Ajax, which is what has happened in the game. Very difficult match to come away from for Giovanni van Bronckhorst and those Rangers players.
Absolutely, but there's always a way back. There's always that sense that things can turn and it can change quickly. Man United lost the first 2 games, and since then they've won 4 on the spin, and look where they are in the league now, and everything around Old Trafford seems a little bit rosier. What they did, Man United, was go back to basics and got runners in the team. They've got effort into the side. They started going a little bit longer, playing a bit more direct, playing a little bit more on the counter-attack as well, because the first 2 games they dominated possession. This is a little bit like Rangers in this second half, where they've gone to a shape where they've been more difficult to break down. You go back to basics. First thing that he's got to do is say clean sheets. We've got to keep clean sheets. We've got to keep the ball out of our net. And we've got good players going forward. We can create things, but they've got to have the character, the discipline, the work rate, the endeavour, all of those little things that come into it as well.
Well, we're into 3 minutes added on time at the end of this half. And the match as Ajax coming once more. Their fans with their back to the pitch, jumping up and down like we used to see the Manchester City fans do at the Etihad many years ago. Very much in party mood here. Ajax 4, Rangers 0, the scoreline. And I did see ahead of this game, and since the transfer window closed, Matt Holland, Dave King, the former Rangers chairman, had been very, very critical of the work of his former side in the transfer window after they qualified for the Champions League, saying that they needed to strengthen and they didn't, and that was a big, big flaw.
Lost a few key players. I mean, Bassey's been exceptional as against tonight. He's played another wonderful game for him at centre half for Ajax. Aribo, they went to Southampton as well, so they've lost players as well from that squad, and so it is difficult. But no, I don't think the work in the transfer market was great.
Well, we know it was a difficult transfer market. I know plenty of the managers in the Premier League spoke about that, and particularly for Rangers when they weren't sure if they would be in the Champions League. I can empathise with how tough it must have been to have players as Kent with a great opportunity, pinching it off of Campos and late into the game, his shot then coming off Timber onto the post and out of play for a corner. The best chance of the game for Rangers coming right at the end of the game.
Yeah, a Campos, I mean, thinks he's got time and he just turns into trouble, and Ryan Kent picks it off him. I'll tell you what, there's a real desire to keep the ball out of the net though, isn't there? Timber just throws himself in the way, it hits him on the head, and you just said it did ricochet off the post.
So, corner for Rangers. Can they get some sort of consolation goal? It's headed clear. That will go back out of play though for another corner. So after we've had 92 minutes of this match with Rangers backs against the wall, completely up against it, does look like we're going to finish it with them having a brief spell of possession and chances up the other end. It's another poor corner though coming in, and Klaassen will thump that one clear. 30 seconds of the game remaining, Matt Holland, as Kane comes forward once more. He's going to have a shot at goal. Well, it'll count as a shot on target. It's taken them a while, but it's an easy save for Pasveer. 20 seconds now of the game remaining. Ajax leading 4-0 here on TalkSport 2. The thoughts here of Matt Holland.
92 minutes 40 for Rangers' first shot on target and the first save that Pasveer has had to make. That tells you the story. That tells you the story of the game. I don't need to say anymore. It's been total domination from Ajax. From the very first whistle, they've been streets ahead of Rangers and thoroughly deserved to have won the game.
And that is the full-time whistle. Rangers waiting for the Champions League group stages for 12 years, comprehensively beaten on their return to the Champions League. A dominant performance from Ajax, an impressive performance from the reigning Dutch champions. They took a 3-0 lead in the first half when Alvarez, Berghuis and Kudus got on the score sheet, and then with 10 minutes remaining in the game, Steven Bergwijn, the former Tottenham man, finishing off the scoring. Full-time score, Ajax 4, Rangers 0. And Matt Holland, as we were just saying, from an Ajax perspective, the perfect start both in terms of result and performance to their Champions League campaign.
It is, because I think it's a really tricky group. When you look at it on paper, it's a difficult one. You'd imagine Liverpool will come through it, and then it's a tight one, I think, between Ajax and Napoli. Well, Ajax have done their bit really in this opening game. They've got off to a flyer, really dominant performance, an excellent performance. They played some great stuff, and now they put themselves in a great position already to try and qualify from out of this group. It's a tricky group, some difficult opposition.
And there's so many good players for Ajax, a really impressive, comprehensive performance. I want to pick out Mohamed Kudus. Played as a false nine, appeared in pockets of space, was a complete headache throughout the game, and his goal, which came on 33 minutes, was outstanding. Yeah, it was, and he got better and better as the game wore on. I think in the first 10 minutes, perhaps Tadic and Bergwijn overshadowed his role and his performance because they saw a lot of the ball, the two wide players. As the game wore on, I think he got more and more involved. He was really intelligent in terms of his link-up play, how he dragged centre-halves out of position and let
space for the runners from fullback and from midfield to run into the space that the centre-backs vacated. I thought he was excellent, really clever performance, and his goal was outstanding. Drove it off the post, past McLaughlin, really good finish.
And Steven Bergwijn as well, he got on the score sheet in the end.
Eventually, it took him a while, didn't it? He was pushing and pushing, his pace was causing Rangers all sorts of problems. Tavernier came off because he was struggling. Hopefully there's no injury there, but he was struggling to deal with Bergwijn, and he kept running in behind and kept driving inside as well, little 1-2s around the box. He was itching to get himself on the score sheet. In the end, it was a Rangers mistake that allowed him to do that, but another good performance from him.
And as for Rangers, back-to-back 4-0s, one against their biggest rivals, the other at the start of the group stage. We just saw a shot of the away end in Amsterdam. Lots of those fans have left already. Real disappointment. How do they pick themselves back up now? Because it's tough. It's really tough.
Really, really tough. As you say, the fans have made their way out 15 minutes before the end. They'd seen enough. They knew as soon as that fourth goal went in, that was it. They were gone.
Which says a lot as well when it's your first game in the Champions League for such a long time. The excitement of that, the bubble just completely burst with this result.
Yeah, it did. Mind you, Amsterdam's a good night out, so maybe they're getting 15 minutes ahead of the traffic. Who knows? Maybe that's what they were doing. But yeah, it was a tough night for them. Really tough night for them. And Aberdeen at the weekend away from home, the team that sat third in the SPL. So that's another tricky game for them after you just lost back-to-back 4-0 defeats.
And Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, he changed things in the second half. It tightened it up a little bit. They only conceded one goal, which was their own fault, really, giving the ball away to Bergwijn, who could then round the keeper. What will he take away from this? Because I think there's surely got to be big lessons for the Rangers manager in how he set his side up. Yes, the players that went out didn't play well, but the setup was wrong from the start.
I think he could have seen that 10-15 minutes into the game. If I'm a manager, I'm looking at that, and I just thought the wide areas are a problem for me here. 10 minutes into the game, Tadic has seen loads of the ball, Bergwijn's seen loads of the ball, I've seen Daley Blind get forward, I've seen Renge get forward from right back, Taylor made some brilliant runs from midfield into the area. They were creating overloads in wide positions. I think I've got to do something to change it, and he left it, and eventually they paid the price. I think he's got to learn that, and sometimes as a manager you have to make strong decisions, brave decisions, early decisions, and if it means you've worked for sort of 3 or 4 days on a system and the way you want to play and it's not working, you're going to have to change it, you're going to have to do something about it, and he didn't.
And we spotted that in commentary as well. We were saying that he needed to make a change, decided not to. In the second half it was better, but you just feel like it came a little bit too late for Rangers. Well, a reminder that there is more Champions League action on the way here on TalkSport 2. We're going to have the other match in this group, Napoli hosting Liverpool. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so that will be underway in about 20 minutes time. Ian Danta and the former Republic of Ireland striker David Connolly will be your commentary team for that one. Matt Holland, thank you very much for your company.
Thank you.
Once again here on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. We'll finish you with the highlights from this game. Rangers Champions League campaign is up and underway, but in disappointing fashion. It finishes Ajax 4, Rangers 0.